Welcome to Skill Builder for week 13. This week we are going to use a new geoprocessing tool called Append. Then we are going to learn how to use the field calculator to update our attribute values. And then we are going to make a map of destroyed versus standing buildings in the ArcGIS Online web app builder. So the first step is to download the SB13_data geodatabase and connect it in ArcPro. So I have already done that, and you can see this is just my copy of the same data that you guys will receive. And there's two shapefiles in here, or feature classes. You can see here when I hover over the name under type, it says file geodatabase feature class. These are technically feature classes because they are in a geodatabase. So go ahead and add both of these by right-clicking on them and clicking add to current map, or dragging and dropping them. And you'll see, so some of the students, there were two students who didn't turn in their digitization layers. And so I went ahead and digitized those buildings. You can see those are in pink. So I'm gonna turn those off. So we've got a hole here and a hole here. So I went ahead and digitized those. And then this blue layer is everyone else's buildings that they digitized and sent to me. And what I've done with this layer is I already used the geoprocessing tool that's called Append to combine all of the students' digitized data into one shapefile. So I can open up the attribute table of this shapefile, and you'll see we have a couple fields. So we have GIS Tech, building status, and then as you guys were adding in the geometry when you were digitizing, it added these fields of shape length and shape area. I guess I included this ID field. I thought maybe we would like count the number of buildings we digitized, but we didn't end up doing that, and that's fine. So I think this field is going to be 0 all the way down, which is totally okay. The last thing before I show you guys how to use Append is I just wanted to tell you I did try and go in and delete any duplicate digitized buildings. Like I had digitized a couple over here and included those in the shapefile I gave you guys, and so those were duplicated a lot. I just deleted all of those. Some students who digitized accidentally created some like tiny polygons that weren't like actually over buildings, so I tried to clean all of those up and then make sure that all of the GIS Tech and building status fields are filled in. And you can kind of do that by, if you double click on the field name in the attribute table, it will sort by, it should sort by alphabetical order. Looks like it did. And then, I don't know why it keeps going to the bottom. And then you can do the same thing with the building status. So it looks like there are two that I missed. So I am not going to fix those right now because I don't have that satellite imagery layer added in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right into showing you guys how to use the Append geoprocessing tool. And the first thing, I guess, let me open this attribute table back up. So when you append data together, what you're doing is just basically like copying and pasting from one shapefile to another. And in order to do that, you need to have matching fields. So some of you guys did not have matching fields, and I had to do a little bit of work in order to get the layers to append together correctly, which is why I'm only giving you guys these 2 layers to append rather than having you guys append everyone's layers together. That would cause a lot more problems, I think. So I have our 2 layers open, and you can see that we have the same fields: object ID, shape, and ID, GIS Tech, building status, shape length, and shape area. So we should not have any problems when we try to use the Append tool, but let's see. So if you guys remember, in order to find a geoprocessing tool, you go to the Analysis tab and you click on Tools, and then you can just type in Append. And it is a data management tool. So your input data set is going to be the face digitization layer, the one with the smallest number of records. And then our target data set is going to be our main digitized building layer. and I don't need to use an expression. This input has a selection. I'm going to make sure I get rid of that selection. Clear selection. I'll go back to that geoprocessing tool. Okay, it doesn't say that anymore. You definitely want to make sure that it doesn't say that your record has a selection, or if it does, that it has every single record selected in the table. Otherwise, it will delete a lot of your data. But if that happens, you can, well, what I would recommend, or if that happens, you can always just re-download the SB week 13 data geodatabase and try it all again. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click run, and hopefully this works. So it says append completed. Doesn't seem like there were any problems. I'm going to open up the digitized buildings layer, and before I appended, we had about 660 records, and now there's 773. I just went back in and cleaned up these two fields, GIS Tech and Building Status, to make sure there were no null values. So I'm going to go, and just after you guys do your append, I would say go to your digitized building shapefile or feature class, open it up. Make sure you should probably have the same number of records that I do. I don't know why you wouldn't. And then just make sure that all of these fields are filled out. So I'm going to say GIS Tech is null, apply that. It says there's 0, maybe is not null. It says there's 773. That's good, but that could just mean there's a blank space in there. So now I'm going to go to is equal to and look at this list and see if there's any just like blank options in the list. It looks like there aren't. Cool. And then same for the building status field. I'm going to say is null. See, it should give me 0. I'm just going to double check again. Is not null, 773. And then one more check, is equal to, and see if, so there is a blank value in here. Looks like there are 2 in the building status field. Right, okay, there's 2 by Katie. So what I'm going to pause real quick and reconnect to that, that REST service that has the satellite imagery. I just connected to that server or REST service. Now I'm going to add that imagery one more time. And because I've done this so many times on so many different maps, I remember exactly which one it is. Okay, and now I'm going to navigate to this one. And I would say, oof, some of these look rough. Yeah, that's really destroyed, but as long as like most of the roof is still there, I've kind of been saying it was standing. I've realized that we could have had much more nuanced categories, and this is something that happens during data creation, is that until you get in there actually doing the work, you might not realize how many more like categories of information you want to have. And since I had already pushed this information out to you guys of just saying standing or destroyed, I've just kind of stuck with that when I did my digitizing. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next one that has a blank building status field. Also still standing. I thought I had already corrected everything that had a blank building status field, but it looks like I missed a few. But it was not, like, no hate on Katie. You all did a great job with your digitization. Almost everyone had about 1 or 2 fields that was accidentally left blank. So now I'm going to go to edit and save those edits. The attribute edits that I just made, that's what I'm saving. I'm going to go back to our select by attributes. So building status is equal, and let's see. Looks like there are no blank fields. Cool. So this shapefile or feature class is ready to, we're ready to do field calculate on it and then upload it to ArcGIS Online. So the goal of doing field calculate is to take some of these domain values in each field and standardize them. Right now, you can see some of us misspelled standing. Some of us spelled it with a capital S versus a lowercase s. This one has a space in front of it. So we are going to use field calculate to standardize all of the standing to one, like so that they all look exactly the same, which is what will allow us to easily symbolize these based on category. So I'm going to pause and get everything ready for that and then come back and show you guys how to use the field calculator. Now I'm going to show you how to use the field calculator. And just before I do that, sometimes stuff will be selected in your layer and it doesn't show in your attribute table that something is selected. I don't know why it's like this in ArcPro, but if you're trying to do like a geoprocessing tool or a select and it says that you have a selection, sorry about my toddler screaming in the background, you need to go, so if there's a selection on something and it's not showing the attribute table, just what I've been doing is I will go to edit and click the clear selection, or you can also in the map tab click the clear selection button. Okay, so we are going to clean up the building status category. So you want to open your appended, your final shapefile or feature class that has the 773 records in it. You're going to right click on building status. You want to make sure there's nothing selected, and you are going to go to calculate field. And if you do have something selected, it will say that underneath this input table option. So what we are going to do is standardize the destroyed and the standing so that they're all spelled the same and we only have those as our options. So we're going to start with standing. And our field name is building status. We are going to use the Python 3 expression type. It might have arcade selected. We are going to use arcade quite a bit in GIS2. Arcade is a kind of like a coding language that is specific only to ArcGIS. It allows you to do a lot of stuff online, like changing the way that pop-ups happen and doing like conditional pop-ups. It's really useful, but right now Python is, for me at the moment, the easiest. So we don't have to click down here in fields because we already have our field name selected up here as building status. And what we are going to do is replace our, so I'm going to exit out of this real quick and go to select by attributes. Building status is equal. We are going to replace all of these different standings so that they all look like this. No space at the beginning, capital S, and spelled correctly. So you might want to write down the different options that are spelled here in order to remember the exact spelling of these when you are in the field calculator. So again, right click on that field, go to calculate field, make sure it's building status Python 3. Okay, this is the part that you guys are just gonna have to type in what I say or what I have here. So you're gonna double click on building status, and in this code block, well, above the code block where it says building status equals, it's going to have an exclamation point, the name of the field, another exclamation point. Now what we are going to do is we are going to replace. So you can, in this helper field, you can go down to the R's and find replace and double click on it, and it will input that structure for you. And then you're going to use a double quote. The first one I'm going to change is the space standing. So end your double quote, then a comma, then another double quote, and what you want it to look like. So I want all of them to look like that. And I'm going to click apply. So I'm going to close out of it. If it does not apply, if something goes wrong, it will tell you. So now I'm going to go back to select by attributes and see if we still have that spaced Nope, so now we only have 3 standing options, and this middle one is what I want, so I'm going to get rid of these 2. So I'm going to once again go back to the field calculator. And it should maintain your code in here, so I'm just going to change this. We had lowercase. I'm going to click apply, and then we had one more that it was misspelled like this, I think. I'm going to exit out of this, go back to select by attributes, and see now we only have 1 standing value. So that's exactly what we want. Now I'm going to go to edit. Well, nope, I forgot. Field calculate, it makes permanent changes. I don't know why it is different like this. It's not technically like editing. You're making a permanent change to the field, and you do not have to go back to edit and save edits. But I am going to save my map just in case my computer crashes. I should have probably made this bigger for you guys. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is the digitize or the destroyed. So all of these we are going to change to destroyed. So right now I'm going to write down all our different options. So we have a space, a capital D, lowercase d. We have collapsed, which is, I'm also going to change that to destroyed. So this is the target, what I want everyone to look, every field that is destroyed, I want it to be a capital D for that word. We're also going to change not standing and partially destroyed. Okay, so now that I've written those options down, I'm gonna go back. I don't know what I just clicked. I'm gonna go back to the field calculate for building status. My code is still in here, and this time we're gonna change destroyed. Make sure you don't change it to standing, because then you won't have a very pretty map. Everything will just look exactly the same. So I'm going to click OK on that. And now it was destroyed with the lowercase. Apply. Then collapsed. And you have to make sure you have the capitalization right. If you have a lowercase c, it's not going to change any of the collapsed with an uppercase C. Now there was one called not standing with a capital S and capital T. And then the last one, partially destroyed. Okay, so that should have changed all of them to destroyed. So we're going to see, oh, we've got one more partially destroyed. So let me change that real quick. Building status is equal to, we have destroyed and standing. So that is what we want. Now I'm going to do a select by attribute just to see like how many of these are destroyed. So 277 and standing 496. Sometimes I feel like I don't trust the results from SQL, so now I'm just going to add those numbers together. I can't do it on my head because I'm bad at math. So 277 for destroyed plus 496 for standing equals 773, and that is the number of records we have. So it looks like every record has a value of either standing or destroyed. Now, I'm not going to walk you guys through it, but if you would like, you can go in and change this GIS tech option. Like if you decide you want to play around with symbolizing based on tech, You don't have to do that at all, but you can also go in, like I know I accidentally put a space in front of my name sometimes when I was inputting my, oh, I guess maybe not. I guess I thought, oh yeah, I did. So all of these up here have a space in front of them. It looks like a lot of us accidentally did that. And then here are all the ones without a space. But you don't have to do the field calculate on that if you don't want to. Okay, so now that we have cleaned up our building status field, we are going to remove the selection on this layer. Go ahead and save your map. And then right click on this layer and we are going to share it to ArcGIS Online. I guess I need to be signed in. Okay, so again, right click, go to sharing, share as web layer. And you are going to need to rename this layer because we can't all just upload the same named layer to ArcGIS Online. So I'm going to name this Faith Digitized Buildings. I'm not going to include a summary or tags because I'm feeling lazy right now. Folder, it's just going to automatically save in my root folder. So I'm going to share with the GIS1 group. That all looks good, but I'm going to analyze it first to see if I get any errors. Yeah, this silly, unique numeric IDs are not assigned. There's a couple ways you can fix this. The easiest is just to click on these three dots beside it when you hover over it and click on auto assign IDs sequentially. You can do that, or you can go to your layer. Actually, I don't know where this is in there. So just go ahead and click auto assign IDs sequentially and it should solve that problem and you can publish. And then next I'm going to briefly show you how to turn a web map into a web application. I am in ArcGIS Online. I'm going to go to our GIS1 group. Since when I published this layer, I told it to go to the GIS1 group. It should be over here in our uncategorized section of our content, and it is. So I'm going to select it and click on categorize and change it to Skill Builder 13. Okay, so now we are going to first make a web map out of this layer. So you have to click on the layer to go to its content page. You're going to go to Open in Map Viewer. And I'm not going to do a ton of symbology changes to this stuff. I'm just going to do one and leave it probably at the colors that it chooses because I really want to see what you guys come up with. You guys all have really creative ways of making maps and choosing colors, and I'm excited to see what everyone chooses. So I've got my layer on here. I don't think I'm going to add any other layers, but I might change the base map from topographic to imagery, or I might choose in the web app builder that I actually don't like that as much. What I am going to do is make sure I have the extent kind of showing my area of interest properly. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get the exact zoom that you want. So I'm going to categorically symbolize this building layer by going to Edit Layer Style. We're changing our single symbol to, oops. I guess, okay, I need to use field, building status, add. Now we can do unique symbols. We have standing, destroyed. We don't have an other, so I'm going to see if I can remove this. Maybe show or hide features. So I guess with a check, that is going to show, and with a not check, it's going to hide it. Okay, so I'm just going to click done. And I'm just leaving it at the colors it gave me, and let me, I guess, so the blue are destroyed and the red are standing. I might actually change those colors because it kind of feels the opposite. So maybe standing, I'll choose just some random green, and then destroyed, I'm going to choose a random red. That's more like pink, not effects. Red. There we go. These maybe would look better if you added an outline to them. So you can click here and you can do an outline color of black and outline width. I don't know what this is going to look like. Ooh, that looks rough. I do not like that. Wow, I don't know why that went to 10 point. Let's try that again. 1.0. Nope, it is not liking me today. 1.0. There we go. That looks a little better, I think. I'm going to do the same thing to destroyed. Whoop. Is that going to apply? No, still looks weird. I guess I'm not very good at changing symbology in the map viewer. We have our fill color. We have our outline transparency. It does not need to be transparent. We have our color as black. Our width as 1. Okay. You guys might not like including an outline. You might want to make the outline width just like 0.5 or 0.75. You should do whatever you think looks the most aesthetically pleasing. So once you've changed the symbology, you are going to go over here and save your map. And you are going to label it your name. Hurricane Ian map. It's bad practice to not include a summary, but since this is just an example for you guys, and it's not going to be anything that is public facing, I'm just not going to go through that. Okay, so I've saved, you'll know that your map is saved when the saving thing that was down here goes away or your name is now up here. So now you can click back to groups, back to GIS1, content. Again, this map is not, it might be categorized. Actually, the map might have just saved in my personal content is what I think happened. So you just saw me change the sharing options so that it will show up in our GIS1 group. And it's going to be an uncategorized again. I'm going to put it in the Skill Builder 13 folder or category. So now the next step is to create your web application. So you're, instead of clicking on your feature layer, this time you're going to click on your web map content page. So now I'm here in the web map content page. You can tell that this is the web map because it says right here, web map. And then you are going to go over here to the right-hand side and click Create Web App. We are going to use the web app builder. It is sort of the most intuitive one. Instant apps can actually be kind of confusing sometimes, and Experience Builder has a very big learning curve. And it is a new application, so there's not a ton of help online about how to use it. So it's going to go ahead and ask you to name your web app. And just so it's easy for you guys, when you're going in there into the content folder, I'm going to do underscore web app in the name. Once again, it's going to save in my personal folder, and once I've created this, I'm going to have to go back to my personal content page and share it again with the GIS1 group. Nice. So I might go ahead and show you guys that real quick, just because I would really prefer it if everyone can make sure that they have shared all of their Skill Builder 13 ArcGIS online content with our GIS1 group. And you can see on your personal content page up here in your My Content, you can see if it is shared by looking over here in this column, and you can see that this web mapping application is not shared yet. I've just shared it, so now it is going to show up once again in our group. And I know this is so many steps just to get stuff saved into the right place, but I really would appreciate it if once you've shared it with the GIS1 group, you go over here into the uncategorized category and then categorize it into the Skill Builder 13. That just saves me the time that I don't have to do that, and it's easy for me to go in and grade your assignments because I can find them all in one spot. Okay, so the web app builder has a couple different features. The first thing you need to do is choose a theme and a color. So, you know, it doesn't really matter what theme you choose. I wouldn't necessarily choose the dashboard theme because we don't really have any any information to include in a dashboard. But the billboard, the box theme, I don't like the box theme, but it is, again, your personal preference. I tend to use the foldable theme just because that's what I've used most commonly. And then I'm going to go down here and change the style from this weird orange color to the Euler, actually not to the Euler red because this is not about Euler. So I'm just going to maybe change it to a nice green. It looks like, so within the different themes, so the themes are up here to choose from, you can then choose your color, which is for the header, and then you can also choose the layout of the widgets that are available in the theme. I like having, you can see here are your 5 widget options. I like having these at the top, but not like that, like how they were originally, like that, I suppose. Although this is really big now. I don't like that. All right, I'm just going to leave it as is because I like it like this. So once you've chosen your theme and your color, you can go to the next tab up here, which is Map. You can also save. This is where you would, if you decide you want to put a different map in here, you would change your map. It also gives you a little bit of editing options, although not a ton. Let me show you again. So if you click here on Choose Web Map and edit this map, you can make a few different changes, like changing the base map. I guess I need to save here. Save. Well, you can tell I've not used this a lot. I've used Experience Builder a lot. So I don't know what I'm doing really, or why this is not working. I don't know why I can't exit out of this now. Very annoying. Not surprising, though. Try one more time. All right, I'm just gonna have to exit out of the whole thing. Which happens a lot. I have this issue a lot at work, especially in ArcMap or ArcPro. I'm trying to do something. It's not doing what I want it to do. I just exit out of everything and open it up again, and then sometimes I can get it to cooperate. So when you go back to your web app content page, you're not going to click view. That is going to not allow you to edit. It's just going to give you the experience of it. And then this is like the URL that you would use to include this on a web page if you wanted to share a link for someone to come view the web app. So you can see I already have a pretty decent web app here. It looks different than the app builder. It's more user-friendly for people that aren't into making maps. You can look at the legend list over here. So this is a thing about the web app builder that is not, this is why I don't use web app builder a lot, is because you can't really customize the size of this legend, which you think that they would let you do that. And it really sucks when you've got a lot going on a map, it's full screen, and then you're trying to look at the legend and it brings the legend up like over half of the screen. It's just not great in my opinion, but that is okay. So you have, I have in my web app the legend here and my layer list here. There's only one layer, which is fine. And then I need to add one more widget in because that is a requirement for this. So I'm going to go back, I'm just going to go ahead and close that out, go back to edit application. So after you saw me have problems with this choose web map, this map tab, I would just leave it as it is. You can play around with it if you want, but once again, if you get stuck, I would just recommend exiting out and opening it again. So the last thing is we are going to change, I want you to add just like one widget. And the widget that I think I'm going to add is a filter widget. And to do that, it's not necessarily the most intuitive all the time. So in this layout that I have, the foldable theme, it includes a widget in this top list up here. It includes your legend and your layers. And that is pretty intuitive for people that have looked at maps that are made using ArcGIS Web App Builder. But for a novice person, it might be better to include the legend and the layer list over here in this area where your attention is drawn more to this top left area. In order to do that, in your widget tab, you scroll all the way down to the bottom. So you're not going to choose a widget here and try and drag and drop it. It won't let you do that. You are going to go down to the bottom where it has your widgets numbered. It's showing them here. You're going to click on it, and it's going to pull up all of these widget options. So the first one that I'm going to put in there is going to be my layer list. I'm going to click OK. And this gives you a lot of different options. You can show base map. You can have all layers expanded by default, which I'll go ahead and do because there's only one layer. You can show title, choose which action. So zoom to, you can set transparency. It's all kinds of cool options. Now I'm going to change the next widget to legend. Auto update, show base map legends. Why not? We'll look and see what that looks like. It's not including a base map legend because there is none. Okay, I'm going to add two more widgets. The next one, I'm going to add base map gallery so that people can change their base map. And I'm just going to leave it at always synchronize with the base map gallery setting of the organization. We don't have any, the Euler ArcGIS organization has not made any base map gallery settings, so it's just what Esri automatically includes. Whereas at my work, we have configured custom base maps for our organization, so the base maps that we have available look completely different from this. So now people will be able to change their base map to something that they might prefer. And the last widget I'm going to add is a filter. I'm going to set up a filter. I haven't done this in the web app builder ever, so bear with me. The filter I want to add is building status is destroyed. And this should just give, yep, perfect, an automatic filter that when you turn it on, it only shows the destroyed buildings. I'm going to configure that again here and add one more. Can I add another expression? Oh, I don't know what I just did. Okay, let me cancel. Go back. So on this filter, I'm going to add expression. Building status is standing. I'm going to check. Nope, that did not do what I want to do. It doesn't include anything. Okay, so that was not the right expression. I'm going to get rid of that. Maybe what I do need to do, I don't know what adding a set means. A new filter maybe. All right, now we have our two filters. However, they don't have good names. Let me show you again. You can see when you click on the filter, it doesn't tell you what you are filtering for. It just includes the name of the layer. So that's not very helpful for a user. So I'm going to go into, okay, I understand now. So you set your layer that you want your filter here, and then you change the label of the filter here. So which one is this? This one is destroyed. I'm going to change the name on this one too to standing buildings. And now let's double check that filter. All right, looking better. Cool. So I'm going to save this. And you can launch, so you can, this is not a requirement, but you can go down here to previews and decide what you want this to look like on a phone or a tablet. But that is not a requirement for you guys for this semester. So I saved my map. I'm gonna click launch is how you can like preview it or see what it looks like. Sometimes it takes a minute to load. So we've got everything I added in here, our layer list, our legend, our base map gallery, and our filter that allows us to see standing buildings versus destroyed buildings. Nice. All right, well, that is everything that I wanted to show you guys. Your requirement for building the web app is that you make sure that you have your layer widget, a legend widget, and some other widget, at least one, if not a few more. You can add a base map widget, a filter widget, There's lots of other widgets in here, but a lot of them won't make a ton of sense for us right now. Like, there's not really a ton of information for about or any need to add data. So you can play around with these different widgets. Maybe you can include a measurement widget, a select widget, but really the ones that sort of make the most sense for this pretty basic map that we've created is just doing like a filter or a widget that allows you to change your base map. All right, well, I hope you guys have fun learning how to append data, use the field calculator, and create a web app. I'm very excited to see the maps that everyone creates. Thank you so much.